Hey there, it's Jason Brumfield, consultant with Proctor Gallagher Institute, and my little buddy Louie. So some people may say that 2020 is a sign of the end times. We've had plague and we've had pestilence. Although COVID-19 and murder hornets are relatively new things to us, unfortunately, the events that unfolded in Minneapolis earlier this week are nothing new in our nation's history. I usually try to keep my social media platforms lighthearted and inspirational, but I felt that, it would be wrong not to say anything about what went down earlier this week. So we've all heard at this point, if we haven't seen the video of the death of George Floyd, and we've seen the reactions that have spread across the nation like wildfire. There have been protests and events here in Dallas and just all over the nation, that you can see on social media, on the news. And understandably so, people are angry, people are upset. What I have noticed is that I've seen an outcry from a lot of people on my social media who normally don't really say much of anything when events like this happen. Because as I mentioned, this is, George Floyd is one of many, not just in recent years, but go back to before the founding of our country, of people of color who've lost their lives or who have been mistreated or, faced injustice. It's really intertwined in our nation's history. But I think now people have had time to reflect. People have had time to think about, their own personal wants. What do they want out of the world? What do they want out of life? What is their purpose? And so now I think this happening during this time period after people, have pretty much been on lockdown and have had the time to really think about things, think about the world around them. I think it's stirring something up in people and, they're realizing, hey, I have to say something. I can't just be a silent observer any longer. So what I do as a life coach or a personal growth and development specialist is I try to help people see the big picture and help people dream big and see the world as they want it to be and make the changes they need in their lives to see that happen, to see results. So I don't want to spend time now really talking about, the issues and what's going on, but really focus more on how can we shift our thinking to maybe address some of the issues that we are noticing and that we're seeing and that we've been seeing. So a lot of my studies, a lot of the things that I've studied really talk about how the vessel we're in is not who we are. Some people refer to our life force as like the soul or the spirit. Some people think it's energy. But really looking at how we are all interconnected because we are, our soul, our spirit is nothing more than energy. And that energy is connected to everyone around us and everything around us in the world and in the universe. And where does that energy come from? Well, it comes from the creative force. Some people call it the universe, some people call it spirit, some people call it God. So the idea that when we were created, and I'm just going to use God because I was, brought up in a Christian household. So when we were created, God took a piece of himself and put it in us. And that is the life force. That's what breathes us every day. Most of us would agree that once we die, the body's here, but that's not really who we are. That's not us. That, the spirit goes on somewhere else or comes back in another life or, whatever your faith or belief is in that. Most people believe that the spirit lives on. The essence of that person lives on, and that's our spirit. Well, that spirit is the same in all of us. We're all on a different journey. We're all in different places in our journey, but this physical vessel is not what makes us who we are. And we need to start seeing beyond that and looking deep inside people, into their spirit. People often say, if you cut us, we all bleed red. We all bleed the same. And I think we need to even look beyond that. It's that soul within us that is really the same. So back when I was in college, I took a course and we studied a little bit about Buddhism. And one of the groups in Buddhism, they believe that the soul is like a droplet of water that seeks to return to the ocean. Now, I want you to really think about that. Um, the composition, the matter that makes up that droplet of water is the same that makes up the ocean. You have two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. It's the same material, it's the same thing. And so if you think of our soul in that same way, Louis has something to say. If you think of the soul being that same way, we are the same matter as our creator. Our spirit is the same as the spirit of God. And if we acknowledge that in each other, every time you look at someone, acknowledge that. Acknowledge that the spirit within them is the same spirit that is within you, and that spirit comes from the creator. I know that's not the solve all problem. I know that that's not necessarily easy to do, but the vessels we come in different colors, shapes, sizes, and we just have to look beyond that and look inside and recognize that spirit within each of us, and recognize that that spirit connects us all, and that we're all on this journey together, and we're all in different places of the journey. And just like water picks up things as it's traveling to the ocean, it picks up dirt, it picks up pollution. Louis, stop. Same with our programming as we go through life. We're programmed to look and think look at things and think about things a certain way. And this is where many of our prejudices come from. And so just really thinking about unprogramming ourselves and looking at the sameness within all of us could make a big difference. And maybe, hopefully, one day we won't see these instances happening anymore, because these instances of people of color, women, Native Americans, losing their lives and having things happen to them, and it just really needs to stop. And I think we all agree with that. So that is my soapbox for today. Just take a moment, think about what I said, think about what makes us who we are, think about the spirit and how that spirit dwells in all of us, and think about what we can do every time we come across someone who looks different, practices a different religion, has a different culture, whatever, lives a different life, whatever that may be. Just look at that person and look deep inside and look at that spirit within. And hopefully that'll help us make the world a better place, one day at a time, basically. I wish y'all the best, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.